Many high-level elitists have voiced their approval for such a system. Donald Keyes is a high-level New Age leader. Humanity, says Keyes, is, quote, on the verge of something entirely new, a further evolutionary step unlike any other, the emergence of the first global civilization. David Rockefeller, the owner of the Chase Manhattan Bank, called for a New World Order openly in his book Memoirs, quote, for more than a century, ideological extremists at either end of the political spectrum have seized upon well-publicized incidents, such as my encounter with Castro, to attack the Rockefeller family for their inordinate influence they claim we wield over American political and economic institutions. Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists, and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure. One world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty, and I am proud of it, unquote. American foreign policy analyst and former Deputy Secretary of State Strobe Talbot advocated globalization and world government in Time magazine, July 20th, 1992 edition. He remarks, quote, here is one optimist's reason for believing unity will prevail over disunity, integration over disintegration. In fact, I'll bet within the next 100 years, I'm giving the world time for setbacks and myself to be out of the betting game, just in case I lose this one. Nationhood as we know it will be obsolete. All states will recognize a single global authority, a phrase briefly fashionable in the mid-20th century, citizen of the world, will have assumed real meaning by the end of the 21st. All countries are basically social arrangements, accommodations to changing circumstances, no matter how permanent and even sacred they may seem at any one time. In fact, they are all artificial and temporary, unquote. Mikhail Gorbachev, previously noted, stated, quote, the threat of environmental crisis will be the international disaster key that will unlock the New World Order, unquote. Gorbachev also remarked, quote, we are moving toward a new world order, the world of communism. We shall never turn off that road, unquote. New Ager and student of Alice Bailey, Robert Mueller, former Secretary General of the United Nations, gave this frightening admission, quote, we must move as quickly as possible to a one-world government, a one-world religion, under a one-world leader, unquote. The esoteric Zeitgeist movement promotes a world system, resource-based economy with absolutely no money, a technotronic society where machines play a big role. The Zeitgeist movement seeks to grow out of capitalism, free markets, profit motive, and scarcity, which they believe are responsible for aberrant behavior. Many people have concluded that the Zeitgeist utopian system is socialistic and communistic. For example, after watching Zeitgeist Addendum, author and political lecturer G. Edward Griffin was convinced that Zeitgeist is advocating a Marxist socialist world system. He states, quote, perhaps the biggest insult to our intelligence is the main theme of the program. It is that profits are the root of all our problems today. That being the case, we must change mankind to reject profit, and we must work together on some other basis. It is never quite clear what that basis is, but whatever it is, it will be administered and directed by an elite group, at least in the beginning. I was stunned by the fact that this is pure Marxism. Marx theorized that people had to be re-educated in labor camps if necessary, to cleanse their minds of the profit motive. He and his disciples, such as Lenin and Stalin and Khrushchev, said that eventually the character of man would be purged of greed, and then the state would wither away because it no longer would be needed. Sure, we saw that in the Soviet Union and China, right? Yet this Marxist nonsense is exactly what is offered in this video program. It is communism without using the name. The enemy of mankind is not profit. It is a political system of big government. Yet this program is supportive of some of the most notable big government collectivists on the planet. Marxist-Leninists may be enemies of collectivists in Washington, D.C., but they are collectivists in their own right. The communist model is no better than the Nazi model. Samuel Adams, a patriotic founding father of America, repudiated communist and socialist ideas. The utopian schemes of leveling, redistribution of wealth, and a community of goods central ownership of the means of production and distribution, are as visionary and impractical as those which vest all property in the crown. These ideas are arbitrary, choices and actions which are done not by means of any underlying principle or logic, despotic, ruling with absolute political power, and in our government unconstitutional. When one does a comparison between Zeitgeist addendum and the communist model, it becomes clear that Zeitgeist is in fact promoting communism. N.B. Godke, in the work Encyclopedic Dictionary of Economics, defines full communism based on the ideals of Marx and Engels and others as, quote, 1. Social wealth will be distributed according to human needs, meaning things that are scarce will be distributed first to those who need them the most. Zeitgeist proposes having an abundance of resources and no scarcity, and thus the idea of distributing wealth according to human needs is rendered obsolete. On this point, they have merely updated the communist model by eliminating scarcity. 2. The state will wither away as there is no need for coercion.
The state does nothing because there is no state. There is no state.
3. Social classes will not exist. Zeitgeist states, the process which has been going on for centuries, if not millennia, religion, patriotism, race, wealth, class, and every other form of arbitrary separatist identification thus conceived, has served to create a controlled population utterly malleable in the hands of the few. 4. It will be a moneyless economy. Zeitgeist's associate Jacques Fresco states the system uses no money. 5. It will be a command economy. In other words, government planners decide which goods and services are produced and how they are distributed. According to Zeitgeist, distribution of goods and services without the use of money or tokens would be accomplished by establishing distribution centers. These centers would be similar to expositions, where the advantages of new products are explained and demonstrated. Exhibition centers will display what is new and available and will constantly be updated. So as you can see, a side-by-side comparison between the communist model and the Zeitgeist model shows how similar the concepts are. The Marxist website entitled socialismoryourmoneyback.blogspot.com, after reviewing the Zeitgeist movement and their admissions, stated this on July 26, 2009, quote, "This, surely, is the same as what we call world socialism," unquote. So even the socialists will admit that the Zeitgeist movement is in fact world socialism. Adams Wass explains, quote, "Communism and the Marxist utopia of a moneyless society where products were distributed rather than sold and bought," unquote. Zeitgeist's main source, Acharya S., promoted the founder of communism, Karl Marx, on her website. It no longer looks like this, but using archive software, you can see how her website looked in the years past. She quotes Karl Marx, defaming religion, thus showing her support of Marx and communism. Many people have noticed that the modern New World Order, as advocated by the elite, contains communist ideals within it. So it seems that Zeitgeist is helping the New World Order with their utopian approach rather than destroying it.
They had a biblical philosophy. They gave us a republic. When Ben Franklin walked out of the building, one of the ladies said, "Mr. Franklin, what kind of government did you give us?" He said, "A republic, if you can keep it." Republics are hard to keep. We've lost ours, folks. We are not a republic anymore. We have degenerated to a democracy, and the next step is totalitarianism. We're that close to becoming a totally socialistic and then communistic country in America. You watch, it's going to happen real soon. What they're going to do next time is manufacture a depression, coming real soon probably, collapse the U.S. economy, which can easily be done overnight. And then everybody will line up and say, "Oh, hey, we're starving. What can we do?" They're going to say, "You know, we really got a problem. We need to solve this."
Constance Cumbey recognized that the New Agers desire a communist world system, quote, "The New Agers feel that the program they are offering the world would satisfy the basic desire of communists in that it proposes a form of world socialism. These books were calling for a new world order with an accompanying global food redistribution program aided, of course, by modern technology, i.e. computers," unquote. A redistribution program aided by modern technology and computers is exactly what the Zeitgeist movement is advocating. Notice how similar Zeitgeist's plan is to the New Age agenda just mentioned in Constance Cumbey's book. In the Zeitgeist orientation lecture, Peter Joseph states, "Just as each city has a central organizational dome which functions as the brain along with its nervous system, consisting of computerized environmental monitoring via satellite and electronic probes, the larger world complex absorbs each city and monitors the broad spectrum of the environment, making sure there isn't a problem or material resource needed in any of the individual cities, while also regulating larger order processes for all the cities and the environment as a whole."